Welcome to Reality Recap powered by CrossComm, your source for updates and insights on what's going on in the world of virtual and augmented reality. I'm your guide, Shane Norris. I'll run you through some of the top stories in AR and VR with some insider insights from our experts here at CrossComm. So let's begin. First up, there's been a lot of fun innovation rolling out ever since Facebook opened up the back end of its Oculus Quest Passthrough. Now, that functionality has been there for a while, but developers can play around with it and actually use it in their apps. Specifically, apps like Magic Keys and VRtuous are adding some fun learning to instruments like the piano by combining that pass through technology and the headset with live overlays on top of actual keyboards. Now, our experts point out that this could be expanded to several different types of instruments that reside on a tabletop or a laptop, things like drums, xylophone, other sorts of keyboard instruments like the piano. So when you step outside of music, though, those possibilities are even more vast, according to our Don Shen.
Learning, training, and simulation is the killer app for
Mhm.
immersive AR and VR applications. And really, it's pass through VR is really kind of a prelude for what augmented reality wearables will allow us to do, which is to instruct us within real life contexts on how to learn not just piano, but really anything.
Thanks, Don. All right, next up, we've got a neat use case from some landscape photographers who are using virtual reality headsets, combining that with Google Earth, and then making it easier for them to scout out their shoots and their locations so that they can get a good idea of what the area looks like. And here's the cool part, what the lighting and stuff looks like. They're picking specific times and jumping into Google Maps for those times so that they can tell where the sun, the moon, different positions and shadows are. And as Don points out, this application itself might not have a ton of crossover to other industries, but it does represent that cool entrepreneurship and exploration in this new technology, which is exciting.
We're going to see an explosion of applications of the technology that we're not even imagining right now to be helpful to us, in the same way that we saw the smartphone explosion happen with proliferation of apps to do everything under the sun and work and life. That's where I see augmented and virtual reality happening, whereas where it's so commonplace, it's almost operating in the background while you live and work and play. And I think it will be up to the next generation of entrepreneurs to figure out what those applications look like.
Yeah, can't wait to see what the next generation does with some of this technology. So, turning now to the health tech industry, two recent studies have shown immersive environments in virtual reality could actually help ease patients' symptoms. First is a study that found immersing patients 10 to 21 years old in virtual reality environments during their IV catheter placements helped ease that anxiety and pain associated with the procedure. The study looked at patients in radiation and infusion centers and found they could significantly lower those anxiety and pain scores with that VR immersion therapy. Super cool stuff. And in another study, two researchers in Poland found that they could immerse dementia patients in virtual reality environments aimed at stimulating the brain. Now, the key here is that virtual reality therapy, immersing them in these environments, helped hold their attention longer and their interest much longer than those standard brain games and other treatments that have been used to slow down the onset of the disease. So there's no current cure for dementia. Things like this, treatments where we can possibly slow that advancement, are really exciting to medical researchers. There's a lot of cool stuff going on in the field, and it's exciting for those of us in the tech field as well.
It's amazing how you can just make the brain do things by putting something in front of it. Like it's crazy. This reminds me of one thing that happened at the University of Utah where they put burn victims in VR and they put a snowy environment with everything of that sort. And while they were doing skin grafting for them, they put them in the icy environment and they felt and the pain was like significantly reduced because of it. So stuff like this is definitely going to become mainstream eventually. And yeah, it's really cool.
Healthcare is generally expensive. And if technology, especially easily replicatable technology using low cost devices and licensed software, can potentially lead to efficacy or a certain outcome, we're going to see not just healthier people, but potentially lower costs in healthcare, as well as these technologies make better results and outcomes cheaper to obtain. And so it's going to be, I think, a renaissance of new possibilities made available, particularly in behavioral change and psychology and trauma, that VR and AR is going to unlock.
And last, have you seen the Carolina Panthers' new digital mascot? The team rolled out this virtual panther. It jumps all over the stadium, tears down banners from the opposing teams. They rolled it out in the first two home games on the live broadcast. It's been blown up all over ESPN and social media. It's a pretty cool piece of technology. It's really exciting for the team, for the fans. It was put together by a virtual production group called the Famous Group. And while it is neat, is it actually the future of animation, as the head of the Famous Group says? And is it even really AR? We hear from Yash on that.
So here's my
Yeah.
thought on how it actually works, and I may be completely wrong, but this is how like I'm envisioning it, right? So it's definitely spatial. Like the 3D Panther's actually moving, so it's not After Effects or something, but something that has like 3D recordings. So it's moving from like one position to the other and to the other. But now it's going to be super hard for the cameraman to know exactly where to turn. So I don't think the camera stuff is scripted, but the camera is connected to the software that's rendering the 3D models, or 3D model of the panther jumping, and that software can judge the rotation of the camera that's happening. So imagine like a VR headset, right? Like you know where you're turning, the same thing, like a gyroscope there, and that rendering happens in real time. So it can count as AR because they're using a gyroscope. Only if they're using a gyroscope, I think I would consider that's AR. And it's like it's not recorded and just like put on top of the camera moving.
All right, that wraps it up. Thanks for tuning in for this week's reality recap powered by CrossComm. If you liked what you saw, please subscribe, comment, post, share with a friend. Positive vibes only. We will be back in 2 weeks' time with more AR and VR news and all of the insights from our experts here at CrossComm. Have a good week.